Okay, welcome everybody. I think we're about ready to begin here. I'd like to present our first webinar, which is our Virtual Trade Shows 101. This is presented by Exponents. Glad to have you here today. Before we begin, I'd like to go over a few housekeeping items. First, if you have any questions, please feel free to hold those until the end. We will have a Q&A session at the end to answer any of your questions. If you'd like, you can use the text feature to text us your questions. And then when we get to that Q&A session, I promise we'll get through all of those questions and make sure those are all answered. In addition, this webinar is being recorded. If you want to share this webinar or come back to it for further viewing at a later time, at the end of this webinar, the link will be sent to all of the participants here, so you'll be able to review this at any time. I'd like to begin by introducing myself. My name is Keith Serrata, and I'm the Vice President of Operations here at Exponents. I'm also the Chief Operating Officer. I have 20 years industry experience in supply chain, logistics, operations, and trade show management. And I'm happy to be with you today to share some of the interesting and unique things that are happening in our industry these days and where we think we can help here at Exponents. I think probably the best way to begin this conversation is to go to the word virtual. And in this context, what does the word virtual mean? Well, in this case, virtual means not physically existing as such, but made by software to appear to do so. A virtual experience is where users can feel immersed in a simulated world like hardware, headsets, and software. A good example of this would be virtual reality headsets like the Oculus Rift. Designers can create virtual experiences which transport users to a 3D environment where they can interact to perform predetermined tasks and to attain their goals. Virtual exhibits are immersive, experiential, typically they're self-guided. Let's talk a little bit about why we're all here today. In a word, COVID. COVID has disrupted the trade show and events industry in a way that is unprecedented in the market's history. Right now, large gatherings are banned throughout most of the world. And it's going to take some time for exhibitors and visitors to gain confidence to go back and exhibit or to do visiting in full scale. Right now, the exhibitors are missing leads, which they were getting from the exhibitions, and they're looking for new and innovative opportunities to connect, interact with their customers. Virtual is a new buzzword. Most of the shows these days are going virtual or they have a major virtual component with them. And everyone's kind of learning and developing these marketing tools as we go along, developing the know-how and the infrastructure and sharing best practices, which is part of the reason why we're all here today. One of the key things to take away from this conversation, however, is that the future of this industry is going to be a hybrid of both physical and virtual exhibits. So if you may not be ready to, if you feel that your company is not ready necessarily to exhibit virtually right now, keep in mind that the future is going to be a combination of both physical and virtual, and it's important for you to become educated in this sphere, regardless of where you think your plans are taking you in the next 60 to 90 days. So, when we're looking at virtual experiences, what are the kinds of things you should be looking for, you should be asking for? Well, you want to be able to create a customized virtual space that's designed to offer striking, engaging, and highly functional alternatives that will support your physical locations. You also want to develop environments that run on all devices seamlessly, providing immersive experiences for everyone, whether it's on a laptop, a cell phone, iOS, Android. You want to make sure that it's going to be a seamless experience across all platforms. In addition, you want to find a solution that's going to be able to be hosted on your own website, or if not, a virtual microsite will be created for you so that you can retain control of your booth as you go forward. You're looking for something that's scalable, extendable, and most importantly, reusable. One where you can create your own events and meetings. So today, we're going to focus on the following 4 topics as the core of our curriculum. First, we'll talk about a virtual trade show and then a virtual conference. What do those terms mean? How does that impact you? Then we'll talk a little bit about the virtual trade show booth and the virtual showroom or experience center. And with us here today to discuss this is Rajnikant Kedia. Rajnikant is the Chief Executive Officer of Exponents, as well as the Managing Director of Instagroup Worldwide. Rajnikant has over 30 years experience in the trade show, design and innovation sectors. He runs a global organization with headquarters in India and offices in the United States, Europe, the Middle East, and India. With that, I'll turn it over to Rajnikant. And then Rajnakat, I think the curriculum here for the 101 is where you're going to want to drop in and discuss these concepts. So I'm going to go ahead. I've done the timing before. It comes out to about 25 minutes if I talk through it. But for the purposes of going through this, I'm just going to skip through these here. And then from this point forward, there's going to be a little bit of back and forth, I would envision, between you and I, and we can kind of, I'll give you the cues as where I see them going forward for this. Thanks, Rajnikant. As you can see, it's a whole new world out there, and we're all learning as we go along. But there's a couple of things that we here at Exponents have been able to develop some tools and some FAQs in terms of things you need to look out for, especially challenges you might face if you're an exhibitor and you're supplied by a booth from the organizers of the show. Number one, it's a lack of variety. It's difficult to stand out from the crowd. And with that lack of variety, it comes a bland design that doesn't really attract eyeballs. There's really no organic user experience. More or less, it's a web page that has your face on it. As a result, your engagement from your visitors is poor because their experience is poor. And last, you have a lack of ability to showcase your products. And then Rajnikant, I think here, this is where I would ask you to introduce the virtually concept and to go through these bullet point items, maybe back and forth. We can have a bit of a conversation on some of these here. Okay, so why would we want to look at getting a custom virtual exhibit booth versus using one that's supplied by an exhibitor? Well, the first important point is that enables you to reach out to a larger audience, people visiting your show virtually, or people in your own organization, or any other people that you'd like to share this with. Second, it allows you to create a unique and creative design which will engage and attract more visitors. It'll enable you to creatively present all of your products and services, to create your own events and event format, to use this experience as a demo tool during your webinars or other online meetings. There's also no restrictions on the design or on the space. The space is really yours to play with in any way you think best suits your brand, your product, or your particular goals in this particular booth. It can also be added into any language or any product group within your company. You can also do hybrid events, or you can do live streaming from the show, or to create an online event. Exponents through our virtually brand, we're going to be rolling out with 5 levels of engagement for your booth. We talked a little earlier about scalability, and this is really a key component of what we're offering. It's got an entry point for every price point, every goal, every desire for what you may have, from a beginning booth to one where you guys are pros, you know exactly what you're looking to do, and you have a lot of outside the box thoughts. We won't really dive into these levels in particular today. If you have any questions, by all means, reach out to us. But I'd like to just highlight the fact that we do have 5 different levels, which is going to allow you to really target any kind of approach that you want in terms of a design philosophy or market goals. So where can you find info from Exponents? We have a new link set up here. This is our virtual exhibit by Virtually. I'll click on the link here to kind of walk you through the website really quickly here. So as you can see, it's part of our standard Exponents brand. This is our Virtually product. Obviously, you'll have a text box here. If you'd like to chat with somebody right away as you come in, you're more than welcome to. But let's go ahead and minimize that, and we can go through the website here a little bit. Here's our new Virtually branding, and it's going to allow you to book a demonstration at any point in your engagement here on this website. The key components that we envision from a design philosophy are an immersive experience, an interactive experience, and an informative experiences. We feel that if you can target these 3 buckets effectively, your booth is going to achieve whatever goals you may have coming into this presentation. This right here, this is an excellent quote, maximizing your return on experience. This is really a key, again, it's a key to how you're going to maximize the spend that you have, the dollars that you have to spend. If you can maximize your return on that in much the same way you would in a traditional physical booth, that's really the goal that we're looking for here. And we think that our 5 different packages here are really going to give you the flexibility to target something that's exactly what you're looking for, exactly where you need to go. And down here, there are a couple of different examples of the types of booths that we offer. Obviously, you can see in this case here, space is no limit. And obviously, it's your imagination is really the only thing that limits you. Okay, so let's go back to our presentation here. Let's talk a little bit about the process. You've decided that a virtual booth is a solution that you'd be interested in, and you're going to engage with virtually here at Exponents to create sort of the master plan for how you're going to get into this market space. Well, it all begins with a brief. In order for us to really target our design to achieve your goals, we need to understand your goals in depth. And that brief, that discussion you may have with our design folks is really going to be the key to help us hone in on what your goals are going to be for this presentation. We'll create a 3D design, a storyboard, and an initial offer for your perusal. With your approval, we'll go back and make the final changes and tweaks to the design back and forth as we go. We'll also ask you for all of the digital assets from you, whether that be your graphics, your logoing, any kind of pertinent information, audio, visual, anything like that. We'll have your final page created and all of the links will be finalized. With that, we're going to create a demonstration and a QC with your team to help them understand exactly what the potential is for this virtual booth. When the time comes for you to go live, we'll help you in that final deployment. And then, of course, once you've gone live, we'll be here throughout the whole process to provide post-launch support. Okay, if you need any more information, give us a line or simply click there to chat with one of our design consultants. But in the meantime, I'll take your questions, and I'd like to thank you very much for your time here today.